What's going on, everybody? Kwaku here. Today I bring you the final video of 2021. In this video, I'm going to talk about what I hope to see at CES 2021, literally in about 2 weeks. So let's talk about it. First things first, I want to see more of the folding Windows tablets. So we've seen the Lenovo ThinkPad Fold, which is pretty much like your Samsung Galaxy Fold of Windows 10 devices. And basically what that device is pretty much, it is a Windows PC that it folds into a keyboard or into a smaller screen. It's like, I believe it's like a 12 or 10-inch screen that folds into an even smaller 8-inch screen with the magnetic keyboard on it. And you can detach that keyboard and use it just as a full-blown tablet as well. I want to see more of those devices and what kind of things will come from those things, because it just seems really cool to me, because now it looks like we're getting finally the revitalization of like Windows 10 PCs. We're not just getting 201s, we're not just getting folding devices like laptops and just average Windows 10 laptops that you know of. We're getting like full folding screens now that people are thinking about. I remember last year's CES in 2020, they talked about how like the whole idea around it was like folding screens in general. So just the whole prototyping and the technology behind folding screens. And it took about till midway this year, 2020, that we would finally get devices to buy that had folding screens. So I remember LG had their rollable OLED TV, which was extremely expensive, like $15,000. And then now we have the Galaxy Z Fold 2. We've already had the first generation of the Galaxy Fold. We have the Galaxy Z Fold 2. We have the Huawei, I think it's Mate 20X, or we have some Huawei device, and it folds really nice. It folds kind of like from the back to forward. We have a lot of stuff out there now, but what I want to see now is who else is going to come out with a folding PC style device, and what they're going to do with it, kind of change the game on how you use things. Because we are all about getting now into the idea of you use one device for pretty much everything. For travel, for work, you just unplug it, one cable, and move it to the next thing. So I feel like folding computers are the next thing, because they do fit inside a small bag, smaller than even a 13-inch laptop, because they fold up, everything is all clamshell and perfect looking. I want to see more of those, and I also want to see them at a cheaper price point, because I believe the ThinkPad X1 Fold is like $2,000, and it's kind of really expensive. It's the same price as the Galaxy Fold, which is crazy, but it's a PC, obviously it has more power and so on. So that's another thing that I want to see. Another thing that I also want to see too is I want to see more Windows on ARM stuff. So earlier this year, I discussed and I talked about a whole bunch of things with Windows on ARM, how it saves on battery life. You still get pretty good performance. We've seen Apple's M1 chips, and we're also seeing now that Apple is planning on releasing a Mac Pro with up to 32 graphics cores, which is crazy. Imagine if we get something like that for the Windows space, where finally we get really good battery life instead of the stupid 5 hours that's always out there on Windows computers. Barely even 5 hours if you're doing gaming, because once you start going to ARM chips, you need less and less fans, because there's less noise, there's less heat. There's still heat when it comes to performance, but things just work much better, it seems. So I want to see that too. We got the Snapdragon 888 processor coming out for mobile devices. So with that, I'm sure this doesn't have to do with CES, but I want to see other manufacturers utilize that chip. I want to see them, how they're going to do something, maybe do partnerships with Microsoft. I know, segueing in, Samsung is doing an event, their Unpacked event, I believe on the 14th, I believe. And they're going to announce the S21 series, and apparently the Note is slowly going to be depreciated. Apparently the base S21 is going to support the S Pen, even though it won't have a slot compared to this Note 10 Plus. So there's a lot of things out there in terms of processor. We're finally getting back to the processor boom where things are changing finally. The next thing here that I want to see is I want to see any Windows 10X news. I don't think we're going to see any news with Windows 10X there, even though Microsoft is the company behind CES making it virtual this year. I don't believe we're going to see any Windows 10X news. Probably going to be held till build or even past that. But I do want to see that, definitely. Now, one thing I want to see, and I've seen it a lot, is the leaks of the Surface Laptop 4 and the Surface Pro 8, because as you know, we had no Surface event this year. Who knows, for all you know, Microsoft might just be like, hey, by the way, the leaks are true. We're releasing the Surface Pro 8. We're releasing the Surface Laptop 4 here at CES. It'll be available whenever. Like, I want to just have that come out as well. Next thing here that I want to also take a look at is I want to see the possible new features of your phone, because there's bound to be new features of your phone or better like compatibility, especially since Microsoft's main partner for that whole application is pretty much Samsung. And with Samsung having Unpacked events, and I remember I think it was last year or 2 years ago, their Unpacked event, that's when they announced like their partnership with Samsung, a multi-year partnership. I want to see if they have anything new to talk about. I know we have limited device support. We don't really have device support for the Surface Duo too much on your phone, but Samsung seems to be, as soon as they have an Unpacked event, it seems to be where we get your phone news, which is very strange. It's from Samsung and not from Microsoft, but they are their phone partner for this point. So who knows if we'll see that. Another thing, major thing I want to see, talk about the latest in AR and VR. And what AR is augmented reality. Basically, augmented reality is the idea that something like my glasses here, where I can see through them, I can see the camera in front of me, but there's information being displayed, projected in front of me, so I can see like, hey, like imagine this situation where I'm recording to a camera and I want to know what the battery life or what the timer on the camera is without having external screens and all that stuff. So with AR, it would essentially allow me to connect my glasses or whatever it is to the camera, and I can just look and be like, okay, there'd be like a pop out saying like the camera has 25% or the camera's recording time is 15 minutes so far. And I'll just be able to see that information. So that's AR. And then VR is basically another idea of immersive reality, where you don't even see the outside world. You are literally inside a world of your own, and you're just doing things on it. So you can do like driving demos. For example, you go to a store, like a dealership, and you're sitting on a chair, you put the headset on, maybe you can test drive a car without actually being in the car. You're just in the seats of the car and that's it. You can do that. I want to see more of that. I want to see, you know, better hand tracking. I know the Oculus whatever 2 has hand tracking in it, but I want to see advancements in that. I know Microsoft have their own headsets, their own VR headsets, Windows mixed reality headsets, but this probably also won't be announced at CES, but I will want to see any company doing stuff with mixed reality, augmented reality, and virtual reality. I want to see those things in it, because that to me seems more futuristic in terms of the future of Windows. I just want to see what kind of thing that can come up with, because I remember doing the Microsoft maquette demo and it was pretty cool because I got to see what Microsoft was thinking about in the HoloLens, because the HoloLens is $3,000. My Rift S is $500 or $399. They're different. They do different things. The HoloLens is essentially AR. It's technically just augmented reality. You don't really get immersed in it because you do have a clear visor. So I want to see what's next in that. I'm sure we'll probably see that at Build, but at CES, I want to see companies maybe come out with more VR headsets just to see what's going on. Maybe more Windows mixed reality headsets, especially since HoloLens, I feel like, is slowly coming closer and closer to consumer. So we'll see. But yeah, that was a quick thing. I really wanted to see what to expect from CES 2021. This is the first time I'm ever going to be really talking about CES, pretty much ever since I've been doing this for 8 years. So I'm really curious on what it is. So yeah, stay tuned for more. CES is the 11th of January through the 14th, and I'll be reporting on anything that I find that looks very interesting to me as usual. So stay tuned for that. You can follow me on NXT Windows on Twitter, and nextgenwindows@gmail.com is the email address if you want to reach me. Send me whatever information. If you're a company, you want to send me information about a press release, please do so, because I want to see more about what's going on in the world of technology. My name is Kwaku, and I hope you guys have a fantastic New Year's Eve, because tomorrow of when you'll see this thing is New Year's Eve. And yeah, take care, everybody.